everyone, and welcome to South Asian Artists in Conversation with Mathushaa Sagthidas. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. How are you? How's things going?
Yeah, I'm good. As I was saying, I'm like coming down with a bit of a cold, so yeah, it's just unfortunate. So sorry guys if I start coughing and but yeah, no, things are good. Things are good. If you could just like tell everyone who you are and just a little bit about what you do, just so people can get to know you a little bit better.
Okay, yeah, sure. Hi guys, I'm Mathushaa Sagthidas. I am a Tamil British photographer and set designer based in London. That's kind of me in like a sentence, but since we'll get into it, you'll hear more about like projects and whatnot later in the call.
Yeah, definitely. And like what kind of what inspired you to initially go into photography?
Um, it wasn't really necessarily, I don't know, how do I even explain this? To be fair, it was kind of like what I was just doing when I was studying. So
Mm,
it wasn't photography I was studying, it was more like I was studying fine art and I knew that that's not something I wanted to pursue as a career.
yeah.
Um, like I had an interest in it, I enjoyed it for sure, but I was like, I remember just being in school and just being like when it came to like deciding what degree you wanted to do and all that kind of stuff, I just remember thinking like I don't think this is something that I want to pursue. I can't see myself doing this as a career. I don't know what I want to do though. Um, so I ended up doing like this 1 week workshop thing, a part of like work experience, and that was like a photography one. And that kind of gauged my interest. And then when I spoke to my teachers about it, they were really supportive, they were really lovely, and they just suggested like I think it's best for you to go and do like a foundation.
Okay, nice.
So I kind of did a foundation, and that's kind of where I like really like discovered and understood photography, and then I kind of pursued it in my degree. So
Okay.
it's kind of like there wasn't anything like that that's inspired me, like necessarily like a project or anything like that. It was just more like things that are happening in my life at that moment where I was like, okay, no, this feels right. And then I feel like, yeah, and I feel like it was my degree where I was like, okay, I think this is what I want to pursue.
Yeah, so it's kind of like everything led you to like to go down that
Yeah,
route.
it's more like that. I would say it's more like that for sure.
Yeah. And so was it a photography degree that you did specifically at uni?
I did do a photography degree at uni, yeah.
How was
You don't need to do a degree to pursue photography.
Yeah, definitely.
I was gonna say, like, I think it was all like the collaborative projects, and I think the great thing about uni, what it gave me was like just I always say to people when people ask me like, what did you like study? Did you go uni and things like that? I always say like I feel like uni gave me the 3 years to kind of just figure out myself as a creative,
Yeah, for sure.
just understand photography and like collaborate with other people and just build my portfolio, to be honest.
I think yeah, like being I think for like most creative jobs, you don't like everyone's you don't necessarily have to train or do a degree. Like even with acting as well, like you don't have to like train to become an actor. But I think like I don't know if you're the same. What I found it is it kind of gave me the tools to progress and just like gave me so much more knowledge about that. I don't know if like you
Yeah.
yeah, you were so thankful. Like you didn't need to do it, but it kind of helped you progress.
Yeah, like the one thing I would say 100% is like um it gave me the 3 years because like I feel like taking like 3 years off, like say you're not doing a degree and stuff, and you just took 3 years to go and build something, unless you're like insanely well off and just have all the networks in the world, um, I don't know how you'd like make it personally. I'm just like I don't know how you'd make it work because I just feel like at the start it's always a bit like tricky, and I think what helped is obviously when you're in uni you get student like you get student finance and maintenance loans and things, and I think that helped facilitate like me just actually having that time to focus on projects. Because
Yeah.
when you graduate, you don't have that anymore.
No,
When you have real life.
yeah. I also find kind of like at uni, I think what the biggest jump afterwards is like, oh yeah, I felt like okay, I was a professional actor, I was doing it all the time, and then when you leave, it's like, oh my God, it's just like just you by yourself.
Yeah.
That was the hardest part. But then whilst you're there, I was like, okay, this is quite fun. And then it's yeah, it's it's like just you figuring it out once you leave.
Yeah.
And sort of just going a bit more into your photography, like, just tell us a little bit about your photography. What kind of styles do you do, and what kind of things do you sort of photograph for? Or is
Mm.
it like a mix of?
And so when people say style, I would say like your style tends to be like the type of like the style, like literally like your kind of aesthetic, if that's the best way to put it. And I
Mm.
feel like I've got a particular style, and I think, yeah. So I feel like that's something that I've kind of somewhat figured out throughout the years. But in terms of what I actually photograph, because it's like various things, so I do a bit of still life as well as working with like people, and it's a mix of like cultural and community-led projects as well as commercial work. Because the reality is commercial work is what pays the bills.
Yeah.
And like working with different brands and companies, whether it's a small business or whether it's like a really big, well-known brand. Um, I think the projects that I really, really love are the ones that are very like community and culturally kind of led. Like there's a purpose behind it. I think I was the mad thing is I went to like a dinner recently and I was speaking about the kind of projects I do like to do, and I think a lot of the ones that have like a meaning or a purpose behind it is the one where like I really enjoy it because you can really connect with it, especially when it's got like a really great like they've got a really great initiative of what they're trying to do with a particular campaign.
Okay, yeah. And do you kind of have favorites that you kind of lean towards, or does it just
Um, favorite, I think. I mean, this one's actually kind slightly not like me cheating, but it was quite an interesting project. It was quite fun. Was a project that I did at the start of this year. Involving like traveling up to like Lancashire and everything. It was wild. It was like
be
wild
nice?
in a sense because I was doing that like once a week for a while, and I think
Oh
when
wow.
it's a long journey. Um, and I was doing it for like I was doing it for a couple of months, and it was an amazing project just teaching like Pakistani women, but like women who are like kind of like the ages of like a bit old, like your parents' age, like your mum's age kind of. And it was just teaching them all things creative. So they're like running like a 3 year long project, doing loads of different like mediums like painting, collage making, mixed media, like um all sorts of different things to be honest. And I think they've done like one on filmmaking, they've done one on sound. And then I ran the one that was on photography. So I was teaching them like photography, like showing them how you can make a career out of it, things that I've learned, how I've built a project, like how um I tap into my creativity and stuff because they were kind of like briefed with like creating a project that connects them to where they're living and like their history and the impact that the South Asian community has played into that, especially like the Pakistani community. And I was essentially kind of helping teach and facilitate that. And that was really wholesome. That was really amazing because I think a lot of these women would never have thought would take part in a program like that. And I think it was
Mhm.
something really different for them.
Yeah, because I guess they're not used to.
Used to it. They're not used to it, and they wouldn't think. I think they wouldn't think or understand and realize there's opportunities within like the creative sector because they're not told about it, right? And especially like that generation. Um, so I think kind of like teaching and like giving back, it's just felt really wholesome to me. It's something that I've kind of enjoyed
That's
quite.
really nice. And yeah, I agree. I think in terms of that generation as well, I feel like there's always like when I see opportunities, it's always for like the younger generation. It's like there's not enough and there are people out there. And then it's like
Like,
the
yeah.
kind of thing, if you're not seeing it, you think, okay, well it's not for me. And it's like that's so good that you kind of reached out to them because they're always kind of forgotten about and kind of left behind.
Yeah. This is the thing. So, well, actually, I say this. It was run by this platform called Community Arts ZK, and they actually reached out to me and they said, "Would you be up for it?" And I was like, "Yes." And like, if I'm being transparent, it wasn't like for London pay. It wasn't like the most amazing pay because they're doing this like funded, and they've got so many um different like aspects of it to run. It's a 3 year project, right? But it was something I wanted to do because I would like actually like the what it's about and what it's for. It just sounds quite amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Was it kind of different to what you were like used to doing or
Sort of, a little bit, because I've done some projects like this. I have like this, I don't know, it sounds really strange. I have this weird thing like every year, because you do a lot of commercial work. And reality is sometimes commercial work, it's just, you don't maybe, you get to be creative, but not as creative as much because, you're trying to fulfill a client's need and stuff.
yeah.
And as I was saying, like reality is that's what pays the bill. So I like to do like one kind of community-led project. It sounds strange. But I just feel like it keeps me like, it's just something a bit different. It's a really different environment and it just feels really wholesome and it feels, I don't know how to describe it. I think when I spoke to someone about it, they said it just keeps you grounded. And I was like, kind of, yeah. But it's more like it's just nice to kind of give back and I'm not just consumed by just, I'm out here to make money, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. Because
yeah.
it can be really, I was speaking to a couple of people about this and like it can be really easy when you're doing something creative that you love, that when you then turn it into a business, it can really change how it is. And that's tricky because it's something that you love, right? And you don't want it like you want it to be like that. But then obviously when it's like, well, still have bills to pay.
Yeah,
Um,
it's that balance, isn't it?
that balance. And I think for me, doing these kind of projects helps me find that balance.
Hmm. And I think sometimes as well, like I think as creators, we can sometimes get, because of how the industry is just stuck just doing creative and like just identifying, okay, I'm just a creative. So sometimes when you get to do those kind of projects, it's like there's so much more than just, okay, I'm an actor, I'm a photographer. It's like there's so much more.
100%. Like I feel like I think people are realizing that they can do more than one thing now. And I think
Yeah, for
this
sure. Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and it's healthy as well, especially with obviously we both know how it is as like a freelancer, so it's really healthy to do things like that. Um, and kind of like going into like South Asian representation, because I've seen your work is amazing, by the way, and I've seen a lot of it involves South Asian representation. And how how would you say you incorporate South Asian representation into your work, and why do you feel that it's important to do that, especially in photography?
Um, I think the way that I kind of incorporate that tends to be a lot through like collaborative projects and the work that I'm kind of doing. And when you do collaborative projects, obviously you have a little bit more control and like in the sense of like who you bringing on board and things like that, right? There's no one you're trying to impress. It's a collaborative project. You're a bunch of creatives trying to create something. And when I work with such creatives, I'm working with people who have like really similar intentions. So I think it's been fortunate in that sense. But then I've also been quite fortunate that when I have done some client-led projects, they've been really open to me then bringing like people of South Asian identity on board on set. Because at the end of the day, like if I can finally get those opportunities, why would I not try and bring other people on board? If I can, if there's an opportunity to, why wouldn't I? Do you know what I mean? Especially when this industry is just so like, like so whitewashed and like
Yeah.
there's more like a white dominated industry. I think it helps to contribute towards that change, at least even if it's one small shoe, it's still something, right?
Yeah. And again, people will see, oh yeah, there is a lot of us. And when you
Yeah,
see,
they see that I'm like, oh, okay, if they can do it, why can't I? Like, there's those of these people who are actually out here pursuing something creative.
yeah,
Why can't I? And I also think, like, to be honest, like me doing the projects that I've done has connected me more South Asian creatives. And I feel like that's amazing because it's a reminder that actually, like, there are like so many South Asian creatives out there. It's
yeah,
just getting them like seen. And I feel like there's slow changes that are happening.
yeah, it's taking time, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, slowly getting there, but not fast enough. But yeah, and it's a thing of like when I've always said this, like when one of us rises or when one of us gets that opportunity, it's only going to pave the way for more. Uh,
Exactly. That is
and
such a good
yeah,
way to put it. Yeah,
so
100%.
and just for networking as well, when you work on one project, you'll meet so many people, and then that will lead on to more work and then more work as well. Uh,
Yeah.
and I think I saw, was it for Tara Theatre you did? Because I know you've got,
Lovely project. Yeah, I love that. That was like a bit of a manic day. We did like because it was three sheets that I did. It was three three plays that they put out.
yeah.
All of them. We shot them all in a day.
Did
It was
you?
quite
Okay.
manic, but it was so much fun and the team was so lovely and it was projects like that. It felt so collaborative and it was such a great environment as well.
Yeah. Do you get to do much sort of like stuff to do like theatre related, or was that one of the first kind of?
That was, I think, my one of my third ones because I've done two previously. So I did one. I shot the cover image for Blue Mist,
Oh, okay, nice, nice, yeah.
and then one for Liberation Squares. And Liberation Squares was amazing. Because that was something I did like last year, where that led to like more of a community-led project as well. Like I didn't just shoot the key art, but I kind of shot like I also did like a series of photography workshops, but teaching like young Muslim girls who are
Oh,
like aged from 11 to 15.
okay.
And it was really wholesome. It was really lovely. Like I remember by the end of it, like one of the girls was like asking me questions like, how could I pursue this if I did actually want to when I'm older? And I like that was really wholesome. But also like I obviously like gave advice and said like the because when I started out with a really cheap camera that was only a couple of £100. And that was like back in the day when I did not know secondhand was like such a thing because I was quite young.
Yeah,
Um, but now I'm like secondhand exists and you do not need like I feel like when you're starting out, I would just say just like if you can get our hands on a camera, it's about building concepts and building ideas and the skill will come.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you can work your way up after once.
100%, 100%. But doing like projects like that and then kind of like sharing that knowledge, it's nice to know that I'm like actually like, you're kind of opening doors for them to then consider something creative.
For sure, yeah. And again, when they see you doing stuff, it's like I can do it as well. Uh,
Exactly, exactly.
and yeah, I think it's nice you get to do a little bit of like teaching as well. As
Yes, I don't think it's something I think when I was in uni, I didn't think it's something I thought I'd ever go down like
yeah,
route of taking. But then I was like, actually, no, this is quite like it's something like I quite enjoy.
yeah. And again, it's something another creative thing that you can do as well as just, being a photographer as well.
Exactly.
And I know I kind of briefly mentioned it, but it's sort of like your some of your highlights in terms of projects that you've worked on. What would you say are like some of the biggest highlights or stands out, or I guess like some projects that have like meant the most to you?
Um, I would say some of the projects I've meant the most to me, I think definitely like the plays that I've shot, especially because of what the stories are, the team behind them.
Mhm.
Um, those that kind of meant a lot. That was quite amazing, especially also just seeing South Asian in theatre. Because I think growing up, I didn't even think that was like a thing. Like in the sense of like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah. But it's because it was like maybe there were a few but like South Asian plays and stories. It's like the
so I think it was like very, very minimal, and now I feel like it's getting spoken about more and more, and getting into bigger theatre spaces as well, which is amazing. So to be somewhat of a small part of that's quite amazing to me. I think one other project I think that comes like springs to mind is um some of like the Diwali campaigns I've done, but like it wasn't photography, that was like set design. And that was for Condé Nast and Cartier, and that was an incredible opportunity. And like that, I remember when I put myself forward, I actually forward my own photography, but then because I was doing a lot of work, kind of just celebrating like these traditions, these like auspicious days and things, and I was trying to also figure out where I stood with it and things because I'm like I've never actually like just thought about it. I've always like when you're growing up and you're just celebrating things, I kind of like
yeah.
went along with it without really understanding or learning or seeing, feeling, and understanding how I felt about that. And like when I did those projects, I never thought it would then lead to a commercial project. So I put those imagery forward and they were like, okay, we want you and it's for this.
Okay.
And that was amazing because of what they were trying to do. Because it was, I don't know if you ever saw it, it was like the first one was with Chowdhury Chandran, like the
Oh,
youngest
I
one.
think I might have seen that. Wait, when was that?
I wasn't last year, I think that was a year before
Okay.
potentially.
I
They
think I remember
were
seeing, yeah, incredible.
they were just amazing because of the fact that like I just never thought that would be part of a commercial project
Yeah.
with someone who where the ta talent herself is like Tamil and like speaking about things that I'm like I actually understand what's going on. I also know like, even when she was speaking Tamil, I'm like I think I can actually understand what she's saying and like that in the commercial sense, I just never thought I would experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's also like again, it's sometimes we feel we have to say yes to everything, but sometimes I think like it's a good thing in a way because again, you don't know what it can lead to, and again, who has those connections and who you'll cross paths with as well. So again, it's finding that balance of like how much do I take on and what could this lead to? But it's kind of like the unknown. I think it's a beautiful part of like being creative because you don't know what's going to come out of any work that you do. Um,
100. Yeah.
what was it like working with? And then I know you mentioned briefly, but
Oh, she was really lovely. Everyone was really, really lovely. Super easy to work with. It was
Mm,
quite punchy, got to be quite creative. The team was really, really open as well, which was really nice because obviously you always wonder like how is it going to be, but they're very open to hearing because obviously like I am like Hindu and like South Asian and stuff, and I think they were very open to hearing about how you would celebrate things, which is quite nice. Which is quite nice. It wasn't just about like how does this look. It was about like how do you do this where it's like you're doing it right.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And what would you what would you say are some of your personal achievements like to this date? I think I noticed your on your Insta it's that you're is it Forbes 30 under 30? Tell us about that.
So that's definitely one. Um, that one was kind of mad. That one was insane. I spoke about this very recently because I went to like this really amazing dinner with like all these incredible like female like women of color like entrepreneurs and stuff. And I think that was something that kind of got brought up, and that one was amazing. That one was really unexpected because someone put me forward. I still don't understand who, but
Okay.
that's sweet. Thank you to that person. But that was that one's surreal. That one I never expected. Also, like just growing up, I did not think that was like something for creators. I just genuinely thought that was like for people in finance and tech and those kind of things.
Yeah.
Um, so to be recognized in that sense, that was insane because that's definitely so unexpected. Also, did not even think like would think to be like, yeah, I could so make it onto that. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, you're like it's something so like far
I
away.
just feel like so out of reach. I'm like, I just would not think that would happen. So
Yeah.
then for it to happen, it's kind of like, oh wow,
Yeah.
that's that's kind of amazing.
How did it come out? So did you, was it like an email that probably came and you're like, what?
Literally emailed, I was like, is this fake? Is this real?
Yeah. Is it?
Right now. And it was like a really long like form, like you fill in and you write out like kind of like they ask you questions about your career and the things that you've built, and you kind of just talk about like I think I remember I spoke about like the projects that I've built and the things that I've done and achieved and things like that. And um yeah, kind of I think you just summarized like your career so far because I think this was like last year. But the mad thing is I've only actually started freelancing properly since like 2022.
Okay.
I know, and when I think about it, that's why I always think it's a bit crazy. I'm like, it's madness because I'm like, I feel like I've not been freelancing for that long.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay, yeah. So what were you doing other jobs in
If
real
I
real jobs?
I actually graduated in like 2021.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I graduated in 2021, like COVID times. It was delightful. Graduated, like
Okay.
found out what I got for my degree from home. Literally
Oh
spent the time
God.
at home. This is why I always have like a mixed opinion. I feel like I should always like preface and say like I have my opinions because I did my like degree from home, basically. Um, but I actually, though the funny thing is actually I did work 9 to 5 for a bit for a really amazing agency. The agency doesn't exist anymore, but the creatives and the team behind it were really, really lovely, incredible to work with, and somewhat still in contact with them actually, and have done like projects here and there and helped out on shoots here and there. Um, but yeah, within social media for like a photography agency for 6 months, and then the
Nice.
bad thing is they were the ones who actually advised and like were giving me they were really, really lovely and supportive and said like if photography is a thing that you want to pursue, going freelance is your best route. Which I don't think many 9 to 5s would be that honest and say like this is like your best route to take, like if you want to pursue this, that kind of thing. Especially because that was so outside of like the job that I was doing. It's completely, do you
Oh,
know what
it's
I mean?
completely different.
Yeah, in
Okay.
the sense of like it was for myself, really. And like the advice that they gave was really, really helpful. And I think I took the leap to go freelance when I'd won a bit of funding for my Not Just Brown, Not Just Indian project. And I was like, okay, but this is now the time.
Yeah. I think that's so nice because I feel also like
How
sometimes
cool the 9 to 5 would give you that kind of like
a lot
over
of
over
the
your own like personal growth and career.
that's mad because a lot of the time we're scared to like let the 9 to 5s down because they're like, okay, they
Yeah.
don't understand it or they're going to be like, oh, why are you canceling stuff so last minute? So
Oh,
that's
yeah,
so
like the thing is, I remember when I actually like worked for them, and I remember like some freelance opportunities still came, and they were really, really great ones. Like one was like a project, like a small kind of project with like Amazon, and I was thinking like, considering I've only just graduated to get that, that's incredible. Um, and then another one was like an assisting thing, like within set design, I think was with Priya. And that was a really, really amazing opportunity. So much fun. But like this was during my 9 to 5. And I remember the one with Priya especially, I can remember like I think texting my manager being like, I've had this opportunity come through, and she was like, take it, just
like,
take it, it's
yeah.
fine, sort it out, like it's fine. And I'm like, how many people I was really fortunate. I think I was really fortunate because I don't think there's many now. I don't know now, but I think at the time they were just really so supportive.
Yeah, I think that's important because yeah, I've heard from loads of people that their 9 to 5s aren't supportive. So I think it's like, as hard as it is, it's so important to find a workplace that will understand your industry and
Yeah, 100%.
not
I
put
think
you down so much. And
100%. I feel like if you're someone who's a creative and you're like, because I think, reality is like stability is quite important and it's getting tougher and tougher. And I would say like with taking even a part-time gig, like, I think being honest is kind of important because the last thing you want to do is take on this part-time job and then just feel like you have to give your all to this part-time job, but it's not completely relatable to them what you do.
Yeah.
Makes sense. That's
Just
like one piece of advice I would definitely give to people.
for sure. It's like we need jobs to get by to pay the bills, even if it's not what we
Yeah,
want to be doing. So they need to be understanding of what we do.
100%.
And talk go, I know you mentioned Priya Raga. I love I love her music and I think she's made a big impact recently. What was that? What was that whole project about? And
That was like, I feel like that was like songs from her first album. That much I remember because it was quite a while ago now. But
okay.
I think she was performing with Vivo, like a Vivo Live, and I think it was that. And I was just helping out build like the set design and things, which was a lot of fun. It was so creative.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been wanting to see her live for so long and I saw have you ever been to like the Daytimers?
I did. I went to like one of
But you
the.
were, I saw you there. I was gonna say,
I was like shooting for it. I was like, hold on. I think that's very like. Fun.
you know,
I was like thinking before that we hadn't. I don't think we'd met
no,
before.
we had it. No, just like online. I was thinking, oh yeah, Daytimers. I was like, you were literally
I
shooting.
was like, I think we were both there.
Yeah, because we bumped into each other. Yeah, yeah, and she was there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like that was the time that I properly got to see her live, just like not in the sense of like for work, if that makes sense. Though I was shooting it, so you know,
Yeah, but still, you still got to
you
like,
got to see
got to
her. Yeah.
experience. Yeah, yeah. I love the shots from that as well. All the shots we got. Um, and kind of going back to like being like a freelancer.
Mm.
What advice would you give to someone wanting to have a career as a photographer? And what is the best way to get work? Because I'm intrigued to hear about this as well. Because as in for actors, it's quite different. Obviously, we have agents, but being like a freelance photographer, how do you get work? How do people contact you? How do people know who you are?
Um, I think it varies because obviously there's people because you can also get like photography agents, and when you get agents, obviously it becomes a bit easier. And to be fair, even I'm like still trying to figure that part of it out because I think there's a lot of pros and cons to it. And I think when I first started out, I thought it was like the be all or end all, like getting an agent's going to get me all the work. But I think when you then get into industry and speak to people, sometimes it actually is better when people just don't have an agent. So it's very like hit or miss.
I didn't realize there were photography agents. That's
Yeah,
something.
you can get photography. You
Okay,
100%
yeah.
get photography agents. I
Okay.
think they help you get a lot of like the bigger like commercial clients on a more consistent level. Um,
Okay.
yeah. Um, for me, in terms of actually like getting work and start in terms of actually starting out, like I was saying, like I honestly think like the one good thing like of having done a degree was having that time and having the maintenance zone and like especially because I didn't have like I didn't have like connections or networks or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, within the industry, and so I kind of had to figure out for myself and like build like my portfolio and things. And I think the and with the degree that I did specifically, it really allowed the room for me to be creative because they were really laid back. It was a photography degree at UAL, and so they're really open to hearing like kind of the creative projects that you wanted to do.
Oh no.
Um, so I think having that kind of environment at the time for me personally was quite helpful. I think the only downside, one thing I'd say with the only downside is I just wished at the time when I was there, it was more industry focused a bit. Like they didn't speak enough about like freelancing or jobs or 9 to 5s or like the routes you could pursue. But it did give me the time to build like creative projects. And then I think I think when I realized I was like, oh, I think they're more of like a creative uni rather than thinking about the career stuff. I think in third year I started reaching out to loads of people. I like interned and like worked for free for like a day a week for a couple of like companies within like social media and things. And that's how I got my first role. And then I think then when I spoke to them, like got that funded, got my like funding for my project, and then decided to pursue like freelancing in 2022. It's because I already had some advice from the team before who already been in the industry for so like at least like 10, 15 years. So they suggested like you should reach out to like photographers, reach out to production companies, like put yourself forward just to get experience. And I think that really helped, like pitching myself forward to like photographers and things like that, just to get like assisting experience and getting some jobs and things like that. But I also did work in production, though that one actually fell through like an amazing, like kind of that came through like an amazing thing actually, because I don't think it's a thing anymore, but it was with someone called Virginia Facey who has an incredible production company now. Um, she was running a platform called The Color Balance, and it was about bringing more people of color into the industry. And I took part in the workshop because it was like a lighting and photography assisting workshop. But after you take part, they put you on a directory, and I then got opportunities through that, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I got some production opportunities, and then that was really, really helpful. Because that kind of just helped, like, at the end of the day, brought in some money as well as getting me on set and like connecting with other people. And then I think I just kept on like just sending like cold call like emails and like just reaching out to photographers to assist and things like that. And then at the same time was doing my own projects, and I because I was doing not just brown, not just Indian projects
Yeah.
um at the time. Um I was then also at the same time focused on getting it out there in that year. So that year was really focused on just me assisting, me getting on set, getting experience, and also just making the most of that project and getting it out there. And I think in 2023, I then started like, I think it was like towards the end of 2022, I started getting like my own jobs, and it kind of just, I don't remember, I think I was speaking to someone, I was like, I don't remember the exact point where I was like, it transitioned from like me assisting to me then like, kind of depending on my own work in the sense of just
Yeah.
earning money from that and stuff. But it kind of eventually like fizzled out of like assisting. I still assist here and there. I think it's still great to learn from. But I feel like I'm more so just work on like my own projects and things and like clients.
I think that's really nice though. It kind of transitioned into
It's
like
like a nice,
what you want to do more of.
yeah, it was a transition in the sense like I didn't even realize, but also
Okay.
it led to like set design. It led to like a couple of other things. I've done some loads of other things in the meantime as well. Um, but I think when you're a freelancer, also reality is you got bills to pay, and money needs to come in some one way or another, right? But I
Cool.
feel like when you're then working with like amazing companies and brands and things like that is always a good thing.
Yeah, because you need to build up your credits, and I think probably like
Yeah,
assisting to
100%.
feel like it helped, kind of like you weren't thrown in at the deep end, you kind of got the experience, and then that again gave you the tools
I
to.
think 100%, 100%, just connecting with people. Also just sending out emails, trying to get your portfolio seen as well.
Yeah,
Um, Personal projects are so important. Currently, even I'm like trying to figure that out right now, if I'm honest. Because I think it's really, really important to make sure you're doing personal projects. Because I feel like that's what gets you the work. But sometimes I find it kind of tricky because I feel like I think I've been so focused on like the commercial side of things that I'm like, oh, I feel like I've neglected that. But the
yeah,
one thing I would say is don't, because I feel like when I look back at the things, the opportunities and the work that I've got is from personal projects. And that's what's helped me grow and get here. So I feel like it's so important to make sure that you're still doing them, even though I know that it can be tricky.
yeah.
Trying to find a way to make it work. I feel like it's so important.
Yeah, because you need that to kind of progress, and we
Yeah.
need to do the kind of hard things to get where we want. And I think you raised a really interesting point towards the beginning of that, in terms of during our degrees, and I was the same in acting. They don't really they don't tell you enough about like, okay, the other jobs that are out there, how to work and market yourself as a freelancer, the kind of the businessy side of stuff. I
Yes.
feel like that's so important because obviously, yeah, fair enough. Like they're teaching us, okay, the skills that we need, but then it's like we need that kind of module to understand how we actually survive as freelancers because it's we have to work it ourselves.
Yeah, you have to work. And I feel like, how do I say it's like, at the end of the day, right, when I chose to do my degree, you know, coming from a South Asian background, your parents have their opinions and their worries. And I think for me, I was in a fortunate place in the sense that like my parents are somewhat supportive. It was just more like, as always, their concerns like, how are you going to make money from this? How are you going to make a career
Mm.
out of this? Um, and make a living and do other life things that we would like love to see you achieve and things like that, right? Because obviously it doesn't offer the same stability as a 9 to 5, or especially like something academic, which offers like tends to offer quite a bit of money. Um, and I think that firstly kind of like so that's why when I chose to do my degree, really did choose it in the hopes that it was going to teach me how to figure out like how to actually go and make money from this and like
Mm.
learn about that. And then when I realized it wasn't going to, that's when I took like I do feel like make the most of your uni year. Like if you are someone who is doing a creative degree, those 3 years are so like vital in the sense of like you have a bit more freedom in
Yeah,
the sense of just taking on like doing collaborative projects, but also just trying to, like assist and like do internships and things like that. If like from a photography perspective, I would say like assisting, because I think recently I met some people who have been assisting during uni, and I just think like, oh my God, if I could go back, I would so do that. It's so smart because you're already then going to graduate having had connections, built up
Mm.
relationships,
Yeah.
potentially be able to just start freelancing from the get-go.
And building up the credits as well.
Build up the credits. I think that's so like, and those 3 years are so important because you get the time and you probably get like maintenance known and like support to
Yeah,
do it. Because obviously when you then graduate, you don't get that. And then you've got to figure out how to make money.
I
So
know. It,
yeah.
it's yeah, it's a lot harder than we all thought, and I
This
think
is the thing. Yeah,
it's
that's a good way to put it.
yeah, it's important to just build up the credits when you can, because yeah, at uni you do get quite a bit of free time, so it's like make the most of that time because you're not gonna be able to get it when you have to pay bills and
When reality then kind of like kicks in, you get more responsibilities. It just becomes a bit trickier. Like I liked the thing is right. Obviously, like I graduated in like 2021, so it was a few years ago, and I think during that time, I remember people speaking about it loads because I think it was also COVID, so people were really worried about like what's life going to really be like. So people were speaking more and more actively about it around that time. So I
yeah,
like to think there's more changes now, and it is becoming more focused. I'm not gonna know unless I like do a degree there or something
and
like
then
that
go back and yeah.
go back and do a degree, but I like to think it's become they're thinking more about that, but who knows?
I think they are, yeah. I
Yeah,
hope.
I'd like to think that as well because I think it's be it was I remember in uni it was people started complaining and saying things like we're not learning about how to go and make money from this and the job market's stressful right now. It's not great. It's
Yeah,
expensive.
it's hard, yeah, and taxes, tax returns, and all that. Just all
God,
that
yeah.
we had to figure out
That's like the bane
ourselves.
of my life. Also, when you're creative, why are you going to know about tax? That is not the thing you care about.
It's
Like
no.
that has been figuring that kind of side of things out has been like a learning curve for sure.
Yeah, I know. God, I didn't even know it was a thing until I was like, oh yeah, when you're freelance, you have to do your own stuff, and
You have to actually do it yourself. And
yeah,
oh my God, the one thing people I saw a really great video from a photographer recently and she says, pay into your pension. I was like, yes. I actually pay into my pension. I think people don't think about it, but it's so important because when someone is 9 to 5, they don't have to worry about that. They also get so much more benefits. Like depending on their company, they can be fortunate in the sense of like they'll yeah, part of their paycheck goes in like and then someone they like their company matches it and so they'll get like a great pension like
yeah,
you get great pension schemes and not worry whereas when you're freelance and you don't have that then what's going to happen when you then retire or like get to like an
yeah.
old age you can't keep working forever like you do want to do it at one point and just not work so I do think paying into your pension is something that people
Need
definitely
to do, yeah.
on 100% super important. Even though I would say that I only started properly doing it like somewhat, I think started like last year. But it's
I've
just
done it recently because I was like, oh yeah, I should probably
I-
probably do this.
because it's not something you think about, right? Like
No, it's
because
because it's in the future, obviously, but it's
yeah,
like
it's in
you've
the
got to do
future.
that.
It's in the future, and I feel like because we're like you're freelance. It's just not those aren't things you're kind of taught because obviously in a 9 to 5, it just comes like they just do it for you essentially.
And you kind of forget about it. It's in the back of your
Yeah,
mind.
it's in the back of your mind, but 100%. I have mine like on a standing order. I would
Oh
definitely
yeah, yeah, same.
that's important.
Because once you've done it, then you can forget. It's
Exactly.
done.
You
But
know,
it's,
it's like doing itself, it's sorted out, and it's like it's all okay.
yeah, yeah, it's just making me realize how much you have to do just by yourself. Just being creative. It's like even
Uh,
like invoices and just so much that you
yeah,
just
it's like admin work. There's a lot of
a
admin work.
lot of yeah.
Yeah,
Something I wish I knew
yeah,
like so much earlier.
yeah.
But obviously we do it because we love what we do. So it's like,
They're like, no matter what, like I'm glad that I've been like pursuing the career. That I'm like I can't imagine myself doing something different.
yeah.
But I think obviously, like, but then with anything you love, there's obviously like pros and cons. Like people who work 9 to 5 who love their job.
Hmm.
Sure, there's pros and cons to it all, but these are like the cons, like the admin and the life things that we had
Stuff.
no idea about.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also just the stuff that like the you're just by yourself a lot of the time. You just have to figure things out. And again, it's not for everyone, but again, if it's something you really want to do, then then
then I feel like it's more like no,
it's
that
worth it.
kind of this is the thing. I think this is what I would love that uni spoke about, kind of like the realities of freelancing, not just like oh you get like this freedom, you get to do like all these personal projects, you can get brought onto like every day is different, cool, like that's amazing, and like the pay is amazing, it's way like better than a 9 to 5, yeah, but
Yeah,
especially when you get like great projects come in, um. But also there are like the realities of it, there are some downsides. Like you are also going to have quiet periods and it's like
yeah. No one
normal. And it's like
that.
it's very normal. It's the thing is obviously when you're a freelancer, it can really I personally feel like it can really get to you because you're working for yourself, right? But then
Mm,
I think what's been great is like when I'm in a couple of like photography group chats which have been really helpful, and when people speak about it, it's just been kind of almost in a weird way comforting because I'm like it's not just me, it's just this season or like this time right now it's just a bit quiet.
yeah,
But so there's moments like that, and I think knowing like the admin stuff, like taxes, like your pension, making sure you're doing those things because it's super important too.
yeah. And then there's the kind of other side of it as well. It's like when it gets so busy and then you've got too
Oh,
much and then you're wishing it's quiet and there's no I've
you
never
can't
had that.
find the balance 100%. Like
Yeah.
like times where it will be super busy, like in the sense of like this, like to the point where like you've got projects coming where like I actually don't think I can take this one. I've not even got the capacity.
Physically you can't, yeah.
And then you like, but then there'll be like the following month, for example, where it can be really quiet, and you're like, damn, I should have somehow made it work to take that
Yeah.
money on.
Yeah.
But this is what I mean, it's like it's very up and down. So I feel like the one tip that I've learned is obviously you don't want to live like your life in this way, and it's kind of like even I'm trying to find that balance, but I think it's so important to budget, to
Oh,
factor in like those, because I think when I started freelance, it's not something I think. It's just not something I thought so deeply about at like the start. But I
mm,
can't lie, I was in a really fortunate place where I was living at home, I was living with my parents, and I wasn't paying that much money and like rent and things like that. Like compared to like if you rented out in London.
yeah.
Um, so I was kind of fortunate in that sense. So I had that year where I started realizing I'm like, okay, this is so up and down. I think I need to like figure out some sort of budget plan. Um, and I think it's just I think it's very, very important to like make sure when you like say that you get one really, really amazing job to make sure like you're spreading out that paycheck to cover like other things, because the last thing you want to do is then focus on, oh, like I got paid really, really well, let me do this, this and this.
Mm,
I'm not saying like don't, when I say like do a budget, factor in like time for enjoyment actually going away and things like that. Like even I'm trying to work on getting better at that.
yeah.
But so just I just think having a budget just helps, because when it is quiet, you're kind of like, do you know what? Even if it's quiet and I can't really do anything about it, it's fine financially because
You've thought ahead, yeah.
you
Because
thought ahead. That's one like thing that I've definitely learned.
yeah. Because then again you don't know again, like one month you can be making more and then that next month you don't know how much you'll be making. So it's making sure you have enough to kind of keep
Yeah,
going.
100%.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say things like this, these are things that I've learned along the way because it doesn't come naturally to me. Because
Yeah.
it's like, why would I like? Do you know why am I going to think about these things?
Yeah.
Um, and I think like most creators probably aren't, unless there was amazing creators like who and people who like I think have gone from fine arts to like being like influencers or creatives and things like that who do think like that, but that's because they have like studied in that or like they have experience within that. And I
Yeah.
think people who just come from like a purely like creative background, I think these are the things I'm like, I wish I knew this when I was like a lot like earlier, like knowing what I was signing up for.
Yeah, and I think also again with especially being South Asian, like we're the rare ones in the families to do
Yeah,
it. So I think that's another thing as well. Like our if your parents aren't in that field, they're not going to know how it is. So
exactly. They're not
no
going to be
one
able to
to
give you
like
advice.
there's no one to help you, which is why kind of stuff like networking, like you said, and building a community is so important, just like mentally, but also like if you're in a group chat and you're like you don't know how to do this, there'll always be someone who'll be able to help you out. And I think that's two pieces of advice I would give: network and build a community because it's so important. Like,
100% agree, because I'm like, there's people where if you're struggling with something and you just like, you're like, actually, do you know what? Let me go message this group chat to help me figure out. It can just help you feel less alone, especially because
mm,
what you are doing is kind of like you are just working for yourself. You're not working with a constant team of people where you've built a really strong relationship. You know,
mm,
in the sense of like, because obviously with a 9 to 5, you see people regularly,
yeah,
whereas you don't get that as much. You might work with people hit like multiple times, but it might be on a project basis. and
Yeah.
they're busy doing their own thing, freelancing. So I
Mm.
think that's 100% so important to have like that network for sure.
Yeah, and that's you put up an interesting one. I think another sad thing is sometimes you'll be on a project and then like you'll make these connections and then it's like, okay, bye, on to the next one. And again, building the community, at least you're not working with them, but you're still in touch with them and you've
Yes,
still got that.
maintaining those relationships.
Oh yeah, relation, yeah.
100%, 100%. Trying your best to like maintain those relationships, I think is really, really important.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Time goes so like I feel like we can chat about stuff like
You
this
know, but did we get through the
so
question?
much. There's a final one before we move on to the fire round.
Okay.
But I feel like there's just so much to like to
Yeah.
I can just go on. Um, cool. I'm intrigued to hear what you're going to say. So, kind of before we kind of move on to the kind of far round, just to end with, what would be like your dream job as a photographer? Like your
Dream job.
yeah, like your dream project. If you could like pick it and be like, okay, I would love to do this. If someone could just give it to you right now, or if
Hmm.
there's a few, feel
I
free
think
to.
when I was younger, I used to think, oh, this would be so these clients would be so cool to work with, this and that, right?
Yeah,
In a weird way, I'm like, I can't even like I don't know how to say it, but like that's not like my first thought anymore. Like I used to have like it'd be so cool to be able to tick off having worked with this brand and that brand or whatever.
yeah,
But I don't know, I think for me it's just working. It's not really a dream job. I think it's like working on some sort of project that's just really creatively fulfilling.
yeah.
In the sense of like there isn't client pressure, but we all get paid great. If that even
Yeah,
exists.
yeah.
But I think that's where you get Arts Council funding and things like that. I can't necessarily think of like I think when I think of that, I think of the projects that I've already some of the projects I've already done, like they were amazing. Like I would 100%, for example, Tara Theatre,
Mm,
100% would love to work for them again. Like super easy to work with, super lovely to work with as well. So open to hearing like it didn't just feel like I'm there to fulfill this idea and shoot something. They were open to hearing my creative ideas and how to shoot it and things like that. Like it felt like a really open conversation.
yeah,
Yeah, and I feel like the things that they're doing, I think the initiatives they're also doing for like young people as well, like it was amazing. So I'm like, things like that is what I really enjoy. So I'm like, I don't know if it's necessarily
a specific. I know it's quite a hard question.
it's a hard question because I
Yeah,
don't think it's necessarily like a brand or something like that. I think it's
yeah.
like to make sure that I keep having projects like that, like
Mm,
that I can actually financially depend on, but they're also just super fulfilling and enjoyable and have a great purpose.
yeah. And I guess like what you're also saying is quite collaborative. I feel like sometimes in the industry there's a problem with like the hierarchy, especially when you're working for someone being like, okay, I'm working for them, they're above here. And it's like it kind of like it not that we need it, it kind of validates you and your work, being like, okay, this is a collaboration, I need you as much as you need me. So it's nice when
Yeah,
you're not
the last thing you want anyone to feel is feel like, because I think I've been on shoots like that, especially when I was starting out, where it just felt like, okay, I know like 100% happy to fill that role, but then you just feel really like, like I don't know, it
yeah,
makes you feel a type of way, like you already wear it and you're happy to like, know that that's your place, 100%,
yeah,
like that's somewhat important, but there's like a way about it, because it can also then still feel a little. I think maybe demeaning at times, depending on how it's handled.
yeah.
Uh, whereas with me, I feel like when my shoes, I like to make sure like it just feels a bit collaborative. It doesn't feel so like I don't know.
Yeah, I get, and then sometimes that's
I don't
down
know
to the
how to explain
company
it.
people that you shouldn't. Oh, obviously, if yeah, okay, know your place, but it's like it's creativity is meant to be collaborative. It's not meant to be okay, you're above me. We all need each other to like to do this. Uh,
Exactly.
especially like when I think when it comes to stuff like awards as well, I think they're creating like even more awards for like behind the scenes because it's like, why is it just the ones that are seen the most important getting everything? And it's like, no,
That,
it's
oh, that's great to hear. That's so true, though. It's so true. Like, yeah, like campaigns. At the end of the day, certain campaigns, depending on who gets the award and stuff or whatever,
yeah,
is built with a whole team of people. Like, it's come to life because of this whole team of people.
yeah, yeah. And
So I think it's important to definitely recognize them in the work that they're doing.
yeah, because it's only sort of now that people are like, for example, with the acting stuff, like there was never like casting director. Not that there was never, but I think it's more of a thing now. Like people are recognizing casting directors more. And it's like, why was that never a thing before? Because they're as important as everyone else. So I
Yeah.
think it's so important for everyone behind
They're the ones who are like bringing the people in. Are you serious?
exactly. Yeah, literally. It is
That's
only
so
like that.
key.
Yeah, and it's like we also I think it's yeah, co collaboration is so important, and it just like it makes you want to go out and work with those people again as well.
This
Uh,
is the other thing. This is the other thing. When you then have those kind of environments, it's like, okay, like this. Like that's what I say. I'm like that's what I'm like, I don't think it's like for me, it's mad. It's changed so much in the sense like I thought it was all these massive brands I want to work with, but I'm like, I think it's more so like how the company is itself. It doesn't have to be such like massive, like globally well known like brand or anything like that. It's more like what's the work that they're doing? Can I connect with it? That's why I feel like Tara like is the first because it's a project that I did like this year, and they're like the first example I can think of because of how they were about it and like the work that we ended up creating. It was amazing. Everyone was so happy with it, but
mm,
also just the actual shoot day itself was so much fun.
oh, it looked here like just
It was just really, it was really, really lovely. Got to connect with so many like different actors and actresses and like so many different stories and creatives involved as well. And it was just nice that everyone was so open.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think you was it. Did you photograph permission? Because my mate Anissa, she was one of the actors. Yeah,
It
yeah, I saw that.
it was so lovely. It was just so lovely working with them. Yeah. With
Yeah.
it was either Nisa and Ria. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like what you said about like I feel like it's we can always kind of we always want to aim for okay the bigger projects, but at the end of the day, sometimes it's not like everyone always I wrote something about this recently. Everyone always asks, okay, when's like the next big job? And we all have an idea of what a big job is. Sometimes it's like the projects that are seen as smaller when they're not actually smaller that is the most meaningful, like how you're saying with like Tara as well that has like the most impact. And it's not always about, okay, the biggest names, the biggest products and campaigns. It's sometimes about what is most meaningful and what's making like a really big impact on you and everyone else.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I think, yeah. Like, I mean, it's not this a bad thing to get those kind of big clients if they come my way,
Yeah, yeah,
great.
of course. Yeah, yeah. We're not gonna say no, but like
No, but it's just more like I do get what you mean. I feel like when people say a big project, you just think like I feel like I need to say like some massive brand is coming my way or something like
yeah,
that. But I'm like,
it's not
well, sometimes actually it's not those massive like the massive brands are great, but sometimes I actually enjoy working with like companies maybe that aren't so massive that
yeah,
are great too.
yeah, of course. Um, yeah, time just I feel like we can speak about this for so long. I was like, I always find in these chats there's just always so much to unpack. It like
100%.
But we're gonna thank you so much for sharing all of your insights. I think it will it's because I've had like mainly kind of actors on and I was like I want to have more kind of creatives and I think it's hopefully if anyone going into photography they'll watch this and it'll give them a bit more insight into
Yeah,
how
I
it all
find it.
works.
I don't know. I hope I've covered like tips and tricks, but I
No,
hope
you did, yeah. Because even there was stuff I learned, like I didn't really like, because I know there's like acting agents, literary agents, and I was wondering like photography, how it kind of works. So that's really interesting to know that you can have agents or you can just work for yourself as well.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, thank you. You've been very open and honest about everything. We're gonna move into just some random. I like to end with just some fire round random questions. Okay, cool. Okay, so as a kid, what was your dream job? Putting you on the spot.
Why were we talking? Oh, I think one was well, there was one time I wanted to be a vet. That wouldn't have
Oh,
worked.
nice.
Like, I was also pretty awful at science. It would just never have happened. Like I
Oh,
grew up like this is not gonna work. But I
yeah.
think one time I did want to be a vet. That's all I can remember. But I think my family were like, "You did," and I was like, "Yeah, I know, wild, right?" I think if my family, they were like, "You did," and I was like, "Yeah." So
Oh,
I can't really remember. I just remember being really creative. I was always into like painting and things like that. I really enjoyed the arts, but I don't think I feel anything of it in the sense like, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna pursue it as a career. Though I
yeah.
think, yeah,
It was
I
always in you, and then it like it
yeah,
eventually.
I think yeah, I can't think of necessarily like, oh, this is what I was never that person. I was like, I know what I want to do in the future. I had no clue. I
Yeah,
had no clue. I think when I started thinking about those things was at GCSEs and all I knew was like, yeah, I want to do something creative. God
yeah.
knows what, but it's got to be
You know,
creative.
something creative. Yeah.
Something creative, yeah.
Cool. Okay, next one. What is favorite country that you've been to?
Favorite country I've been to. What's the favorite country I've been to? God, I've like spaced on where have I traveled to? Oh, this was a trip with friends, which I really loved. Um, that's also because one of my friends is from there, but it was great. It was actually surprising when I went to Nice, which isn't that far in France, but it was just a really great trip, though. Yeah, because this is like a bit of a personal life thing. The reason it was a great trip is because my friend's actually from there, so she took us to like loads of different places. We didn't just stay in Nice; we went all like everywhere and explored, and it was really, really lovely. And
Hmm.
then we kind of got stranded there.
Oh,
Our flight got cancelled, and then we had an extra 4 days there.
well,
But
4 days.
like,
Oh.
fortunately, really, really fortunately, um, the friend of mine, because she's got like family friends there and things like that, they were like we, because obviously we didn't have an Airbnb anymore either, and like hotels, when things like this happen, getting a hotel can be an absolute nightmare. Sometimes you don't even get one, even though they are meant to provide it, they don't give you one.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. Um, and unfortunately, I was just because she's got family friends there, we end up just staying at their villa,
Oh, nice.
which was really nice, and they took us to more places, and I think yeah. It was great. Okay, I also went to Monaco. You need a
Oh,
lot of money to
nice.
go. I think it was so. I was like, damn man, this is bougie. It's expensive there.
Yeah.
And it was just really nice because I just felt like every day we just did something and we explored. I can't lie, I'm that type of person. When I'm on holiday, I'm not that. I'll sit on a beach for one of the days for 3, 4 hours. I'll sit at a beach. Beyond that, I'm walking. I want to explore. I'm
Yeah.
not here.
It's
It's
yeah,
another
just
country.
relax. Yeah.
For me, I'm like, if I've come to another country, I can't just spend every day sitting because I'll just be like, I might just really come to another country to sit when I could
Just to
just
sit. Yeah. Unless like you've gone for specifically, okay, I want to just sit on the beach or
yeah,
holiday.
like Isha, this is the thing, 100%. If it's a holiday place where like actually, do you know, I just purely want a beach holiday,
Hmm.
go for me, I'm that type of person. I just really want to explore.
Explore, yeah. And I think also that when you're with someone who's from there, you also get to go to like the non-touristy places or like the hidden gems.
That's such a great. That's why I would say like that was a good holiday because we got to go to places where I don't. Because she was like, everyone wants to go to. She'll be like, everyone wants to go here. Trust me, it's a waste
Yeah.
of time. And then she'll take
Okay,
us to
yeah, sure, no.
places, right? Yeah, she'll like she knows the area. She knows like what's worth it and what's not.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's great when you have someone who's from there. Um, cool, next one, really random. What's your favorite chocolate bar?
Favorite chocolate, like what's my go-to? What
Yeah.
is go-to?
I love these. They're
I
so,
love it. Okay, it's not a bar though, but I love Maltesers. I think they're
oh
great.
my God, yeah. You can't go
I
wrong with
like
Jesus.
there's not too much. It's not just all chocolate. It's a bit biscuit, and I just think
Yeah.
that's.
Like a collab.
I think it's a nice mix.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
What's the one in Harry? Really random. You know the one in Harry Potter where they like go to places. What is it when you do that? I can't remember. But they
Uh,
usually go
tele
to.
teleporting or like back in time, like
Yes, teleporting.
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
know how to save on travel?
Oh my God, yeah.
Train tickets and all sorts, and
So,
just even going abroad.
yeah, you would
Like
that would be one of my top ones because it's like
teleporting. If I could teleport, incredible. I'd be delightful. Absolutely
it
delightful.
saves so much on travel time as well.
Like traveling, I just feel like because people already know this, but traveling around the UK, it can be
Mm,
quite expensive to travel to another
for
country.
sure.
And
Yeah.
like
Long.
yeah, like also just like because of what we do, we have to commute into London. We can't really do our jobs from home, right?
Yeah.
So the amount of money then you end up realizing you're like, actually, I'm spending a lot on travel.
Hmm.
I
And
just like teleporting would save me money.
time, you'll get so much more done as well.
100%, 100%, yes.
Cool. Final one. I like to end each chat with this question. So, what is one piece of advice you would give to your younger self if you could go back in time?
Ooh, to my younger self. I think it's already some of the stuff that I've said. Like kind of I knew me and I knew I was really stubborn about doing something creative. So I would say like staying on your path, like doing something creative is definitely the thing that you want to do. And you'll figure it out once you know that maybe I'll say like you're gonna do photography, go and assist, start it in uni. Just start building that work experience in uni rather than later. because you might as well, and you won't regret it. Like, because I think when I graduated and when I started doing those things, like, I just remember thinking like, this is something I could have definitely done on the side of uni.
Okay.
Like, I was just thinking like, I had the time, I really could have assisted whilst doing my degree, um, especially like in final year or something like that. Especially because I graduated during COVID, so I think it was a really difficult time. So I would say that would be my piece of advice for sure.
That's a really, really lovely piece to end on. Yeah, thank you so much for taking your time to chat. I feel like we've got through so much, and hopefully it'll be a nice insight to people who don't know much about photography and how it all works. I will let everyone know when this chat will be uploaded. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. Take
Thank
care.
you.
No worries. Take care. Bye.